Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to welcome all on-site and, of course, also remote to our today's meetup on the topic. I need to read it. The Diagnostic Room, Uncovering and Curing Team Dysfunction, presented by Ala. And sorry for butchering your last name. Kuzniatsova, yes. Thank you very much for that. We're once again back at the lovely people at DCCS who are taking good care of us today on site and also taking care of the audio setup and everything working on the network. But before we start, I want to get some organizational stuff sorted out. First of all, we are taking pictures and also recording this meetup, as you heard before. So if you don't want to be seen or heard, just contact us directly or afterwards at one of our channels, and we will try to cover your tracks. And the second one, as you can see here, we are using Slido once again for questions and answers afterwards. So please scan this QR code. It will be also at the end of the Q&A session. And afterwards, we will go into Q&A. But now I'd like to hand over to Matthias, tell us a few words about DCCS, our lovely host, before we start with Ala's talk. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you. Can you click? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, and I have to send here, I think, yes. So, my name is Matthias Reischer. I'm presenting the DCCS today, and it's very nice that you're all here. I really like it if a community comes together, especially if it is about agility. And I was thinking how to, okay, thank you. And I was thinking how to represent the DCCS in a way that makes sense. And I was thinking about how this event comes together. And to do this, of course, we have some values in DCCS. And one value is make it your matter. And this event starts with that one of the Agile coaches, in this case me, just thinks about, okay, let's set up something. But I, of course, cannot do it alone. So therefore, I need another value. And another value is that we team up. And therefore, I would really like to say thank you to Patricia, to Nicole for organizing the stuff. Thomas, thank you for setting up all the sheets and stuff, and all the other lovely people that helped me to do this, because it is a lot of work. And in this way, I would like to say thank you. And of course, hope this helps. Some figures. So the DCCS is mainly in the automotive industry. We have more than 30 years of experience and, of course, 340 people, 7 locations. So you can figure out there's a lot of things to do for an Agile coach, but it's very nice. And I was told that I should be short on time so that we have enough for this talk. And I'm very excited, looking forward to this talk. I think that is a very cool topic. And I think I spare you the time and say thank you. And I wish you all having a good time. There's enough to eat. There's something. Exactly. If you see this table there, there is some presents there. You can take one. Please do not take all by yourself because we don't have so much. So it would be very nice if you just take maybe one. Okay, good. And I think that is it. Thank you and enjoy, I would say. Good. You have to open.
It works. Perfect. So, hi, everyone. I'm so glad to see here so many people. My name is Ala. I need to click. My name is Ala, and basically today I'm welcoming you to my diagnostic room, where we are going to uncover and I hope cure some team dysfunctions. Before we will continue with my talk, I just want to tell you a couple of words about myself. As I said, my name is Ala. I will not torture you with my surname. I'm Scrum Master and Delivery Lead in Tulke. I'm from Belarus, but 3 years already, I'm expert. I live in Vienna with my husband and my imaginary dog because I cannot afford a real one so far. Besides that, I'm Agilist. This is how I identify myself. I'm feminist and I'm humanist, meaning that I'm always putting human beings together with all their biases, weaknesses, strengths in the very focus and taking care of people and their relationship. And this is something what is important for me. Besides that, I'm also a trainer doing some Scrum trainings in Zulke. I'm coach and I'm mentor. I also have some fancy badges over here and a QR code. So if you want to join and to connect with me in LinkedIn, so you're welcome to scan it. Cool. Okay. So, and now welcome to the diagnostic room. So what are we going to do today? We will diagnosing common team dysfunctions in a similar way as doctors do when they are diagnosing our health issues. Because what is the team? Team is like a working body, working organism, right? It's a system. And it also can have, like teamwork can have some symptoms that we can identify and do something with them. And what is our agenda today? We will have a brief model overview. So my talk is built basically on Lencioni's model, 5 dysfunctions of a team. And after we overview the model, we will just dive into diagnosing. We will walk through each dysfunction one by one. We will talk about symptoms. We will talk about prescriptions. I will share some tools out of my treatment kit that I use in my work with teams. Then we will summarize, of course, and I will be open for your questions. All right. Can you please raise your hand if you're familiar with the model 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni? Okay, quite some people. Great. All right, so what is the model basically? The model, and this is the first disclaimer, that all models are wrong, but some models can be useful. And I personally find this model useful for myself. I neither think it's complete or full, but I think that it's helpful like a structure. And I also recommend you to treat it and perceive it as a structure that can help you in your daily business. And the model is basically about 5 dysfunctions that look like a pyramid where absence of trust is on the very bottom. Then it goes fear of conflict, because when we don't have trust in the team, we are not eager to debate and to step into the conflict. Then it goes lack of commitment. Then avoidance of accountability, and it's finishing with an attention on the results. And I will not talk too much about this model, since some of you are already aware, and anyway, I will cover it in my topic next. Okay, let's start with our diagnostic room. And the first diagnosis, fiducia absentia, or absence of trust. So basically, what is trust? The trust, this is some abstract thing that we cannot touch, but we can feel it, right? So how you feel it? Usually you feel it like, okay, I can be open in front of my peers, in front of my team members, and revealing some of my weaknesses and maybe sicknesses as well. Weaknesses are maybe, I don't know, some challenges I'm facing, and I always can be sure that there is a supporting shoulder behind. And basically, what are the symptoms that we can observe when team is lacking trust? First of all, it can be a situation that nobody is asking for help. Or maybe there are some people who are used to ask for help just because of they're more active or they're more extrovertial, sorry. And then you always see some people sitting in the introvert's corner and never asking for help, trying to do something. Maybe you also faced something like avoidance of a feedback, that people that do not trust each other, they probably will not be comfortable to ask for a feedback or give a feedback, because like, I don't know what will happen next. If I will ask for a feedback, I don't know, maybe it will endanger me or my position in the company, or will ruin my career. I don't know. And the last but not least, people, when they do not trust each other, they tend to conceal their weaknesses and pretend to hide their vulnerability. Like, if I do not trust my team, well, probably I will not tell them that I do not know something. Well, but knowing, like, we cannot know everything, right? But still, if I don't have trust, I don't want to reveal it to anyone because I don't know how people will react. And how can we treat it? The general prescription is to cultivate openness and encourage vulnerability. And what does it mean? How we can do that? First of all, we have to build strong connections. And I think building strong connections is really a crucial thing that people quite often, they kind of neglect it, thinking that, okay, we are here to work, we are here to do our tasks. Why should we build some connections with people here? Like, I don't want to have or to share anything personal with these people. But it's really crucial for you as a leader to build these connections and bring together professional and personal. And here's an example how you can do that. You can do that via team kickoff on the start of the project, on the start of a team, or when somebody else, somebody is joining your team, have a kickoff. It's better to do that somewhere offsite, I don't know, somewhere outside of the office, but anyway, even in the office, it will be good. If you can dedicate 1-2 days to sit together, take your time, share something that binding you, it will be a great moment. But of course, you have to do that and cultivate it over the time. As a leader, it's important to lead by example and show your own vulnerability. This is crazy difficult thing to do, I can say. I struggled with that personally a lot because, again, it's not safe, right? It's not safe to show your vulnerability. For me, it wasn't safe when I was QA, for example, to say that, I don't know, I'm good in manual testing, but I'm not so good in automation, because like people looking at me, they think that I'm a good consultant. Or when I started to be a delivery lead, right? It was uncomfortable for me to say, okay, guys, I do not have an answer for you right now. I need some minutes or hours or days to think it over. Or I do not know it at all because I'm not an expert. You are experts. I need your support. And now I'm comfortable to do that because we have trust, because again, I took this courage and brought my vulnerability. But just be prepared that it's very uncomfortable. But if you do that, it brings really good fruits. Sorry. And regular retrospectives, meaning that besides having regular retrospectives, I really recommend to focus on going deeper in retrospectives. Deeper means start talking not about what was good or what was bad, but also about feelings, which is very difficult for human beings to talk about feelings in general. But start asking them, what did you feel last sprint or last iteration, whatever you call it? What caused these kind of feelings for you? And then try to build improvements based on feelings, based on facts, on behaviors. And there is one tool that I recommend for building trust, for building connections. This is Personal Map. So you can do that either on-site or online. It works perfectly. When you can gather some people together, you can also do that in retrospective. asking everyone to prepare like a mind map of themselves, like giving some topics, for example, values, hobbies, goals, work, education, and then asking people to add more details there, to add some pictures, to make it like more funny, more personal. And then after they are done, try to find connections. What connects you in your team? Maybe these are hobbies, maybe this is hometown, or maybe you have common goals. And when you have this huge map of these connections, you will see, okay, I have some kind of attachments to other people, and it also helps you to build trust. What is next? If there is no trust, then we have next diagnosis, conflictus phobia. So if I do not trust my team, I'll most probably will not be comfortable to step into a conflict. And when I say conflict, I mean, of course, productive conflict. I'm not comfortable to go into emotional debates with my colleagues because, again, I don't know how they will react. I'm not so comfortable maybe to share some opinions that contradict the other opinions, especially, you know, if there are some loud voices in the team. Quite often you have such a person or two that are very loud, they are very, I would say, confident, and then you have the other people who are kind of not comfortable to step in and say, oh, I disagree with you, I have another opinion, would you listen? So how you can identify that? By the symptoms that you have fear or conflict. First of all, you have fake positivity. Have you ever experienced this situation when kind of, for the first sight, when you see the team, everything looks perfect, good. It's such a good team. They're so connected. They work kind of together. They're sitting together. But then you have this feeling that there's something wrong, something in the air that you cannot maybe verbalize, but there is something. And this is something probably goes when people are hiding problems. So they like make that everything is good. There are no issues, no problems. We are all right, but problems still exist, but just nobody wants to talk about them. Lost voices. Opinions are not heard, perspectives also not heard, and toxic atmosphere. So together works perfectly, right? With this fake positivity. So from the other one, from the one hand, you have this sense of positivity, but there is also toxic atmosphere because people tend to talk behind people's back since opinions are not heard. For example, my opinion wasn't heard in a meeting, so probably I will go after the meeting somewhere to the coffee point and talk to John. You know, like they were talking about this shitty solution. I mean, I strongly disagree. For some reason, I didn't reveal my disagreement. But what if I will like continue doing like I think, and I don't care about all the rest? What can you do in this case if you're facing fear of conflict? Of course, you need to promote constructive disagreement. Nice words, sounds very good, right? Very difficult to reach. What you need to do first is to educate yourself about conflict, first of all, to explore that conflict is actually a very good thing because great solutions are born only when there is a conflict, when there are so many opinions facing together, people are debating, and out of it, something new born. And something new is stronger, is better. When you're ready, when you understand the difference between productive and unproductive conflict, how to step into the conflict, how to intervene, then you can educate your team or just people around you about the conflict, and especially the value of the conflict. Conflict norming. It's a great tool that you can do with your team. Just sit together and create a set of norms. What is conflict for you? how are we going to deal with conflict? And then you kind of create I don't know, don't like word document, because if you have a document, you probably will bury it somewhere in Wiki. But if you can do that in physical place, it would be great to draw something on a flip chart and keep it somewhere on the wall. If you do it online, again, try to keep it visible for everyone. And every time, when you go to the meeting, when you need to discuss something, just keep it somewhere in front of the eyes of your team, like, okay, we have these norms, guys, so let's try it out. Let's go into the conflict and see what will happen next. And as a leader, it's very important to step aside, since we as leaders tend to be overprotective. This is our team. This is our baby. We don't want to hurt it. We don't want them to hurt each other. And quite often, if we observe that people already step into some emotional debates, they're getting, wow, you know, there is energy. You're already, whoa, guys, stop it. Here, Bob's opinion is great. Let's go with that. Don't do that. Again, it's very hard. And just step aside, just observe. I don't know, make it as an experiment for yourself. Like say, okay, today I know it will be very hard for me, but I will sit and shut up and just observe what will happen. And it will be, you will see the magic. And for the treatment kit, I offer you empathy map canvas. Basically, this canvas was created for product development, for product management, to understand end users better. To understand, basically to create some empathy for end users, for user personas, and understand what they see, what they do, what they hear. But I like to use this empathy map canvas in order to understand each other better in our team. And it also helps you then in a conflict, because you kind of start understanding people much better and deeper, and you're kind of more safe to step into the conflict. And you know, okay, I know that this person is all right. I will not hurt him or something like that. Our next diagnosis. So we talked about absence of trust and fear of conflict. And the next diagnosis is commitmentus deficitis, or lack of commitment. And this is a funny thing about commitment, because lots of people think that commitment is consensus. And I also consider it like that before. So, but it turned out that reaching consensus is kind of dystopy. I mean, it's not possible in real life, maybe possible, but very rare. I mean, I cannot reach consensus with my husband on the wall colors in our apartment. How can, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 people in the team reach consensus on some idea, right? So commitment is not about consensus. Commitment is about clarity, and it's about buy-in. So you need to make it to facilitate the meetings in this way that people buy the idea or decision or solution. How you can identify that you're facing with lack of commitment in your teams? Missed goals. So your deadlines flies like a breeze under the prairies. So people who are not committed to a decision or solution, they probably will not care about the goals you set up, about the deadlines. Ambiguous direction. So if you see that there are no clear priorities, we do not know where we go. So like, why should I be committed, right? I don't know where we go. Whatever, I will do something. Just to do something, just to lock my time into a tracking system and just go home. And again, there is no buy-in. So people just ignore the decision. They do not buy the idea. And the thing with buy-in is an interesting thing, because basically to sell the idea, it's enough to make other opinions heard. So if I have an opportunity to express my own opinion or my disagreement with other opinion, and it's being heard by the whole team. And people basically kind of accepted it. We discussed it. So I will most probably buy the other idea, the other solution or decision, if, in this case, even if my idea was rejected. This is a funny thing, how buy-in works. What I can suggest you to create clarity at buy-in, basically by having commitment clarification, just at the end of your meeting, ask this very straightforward question. What exactly have we decided here today? I mean, you will be annoying. Maybe people will start hating you for this question. I mean, okay, that's fine. Scrum Master is a person who can be hated. That's fine. But it really helps. And then again, keep silent and let someone in the team to summarize what exactly we decided today. Effective facilitation. Facilitation is also a skill that you have to train as a leader, as a Scrum Master, or whoever you are. It's a great skill that helps a lot, I would say, in daily work, which helps everyone to be heard. And confidence vote is my favorite thing that we practicing in my team every sprint planning. So you just ask the team, answer the question, to what extent are we confident that we can reach the goal? Or to what extent are we confident that we can, I don't know, deliver by this deadline, right? And what I do, my favorite is fist of 5. So you ask people to show their fist. So if it's fist, it means that they're not confident at all. If it's 5, they're absolutely confident. You cannot be even more confident than that. And then people voting, usually they show some fingers. It's very rare when they show 5. If they do, then you have to be suspicious. Something wrong. But they can say like, I don't know, 2, 3 fingers. And then you find a person with the lowest amount of fingers and ask them, okay, what should we change in our plan to make it at least 3? And it really helps. Really, I'm doing this every sprint planning. When we have a plan, when we have a sprint goal, I'm asking people, and so far it never happened that it was 5. People are very optimistic when they're doing planning, but then in the end, they are not really confident that they can do that. That's funny. Okay, and this is my tool again from my treatment kit, how you can raise your lack of commitment, change from lack of commitment to commitment. Is team agreement. This particular canvas is from Management 3.0. You can download it from there, but you can also design it by yourself together with your team. So it works like a canvas where you're just defining the topics you're agreeing on, and like it can be whatever. Like, for example, my favorite one, what we agree to disagree on, our values, how we navigate the conflict, our co-working hours, and then you agree on some points. Again, you have it somewhere visible for the whole team, and it also will raise commitment, because when you agree already on something, it's very difficult not to be committed. The next diagnosis is accountabilitas evitatum. I'm very bad in Latin. Avoidance of accountability. And it's also a good thing about accountability. I would say it's difficult to reach accountability in your team because, I mean, it can seem very straightforward, like, okay, accountability, I feel accountable, I think. But accountability is basically about people in your team to keep each other accountable for reaching deadlines, for reaching goals. And this is something that I'm actually struggling in, probably in every team I'm working with. How you can smell it, these symptoms. Basically, you have task silos. So you have people who are working on individual tasks. So just check your Scrum board or Kanban board or whatever board you have, and just check if you have tasks and just where people individually assigned to these tasks and people are not working together, I would think about that probably, because it's very difficult to reach a goal if people are working individually on something. You as a leader, just a single enforcer. You are the only source of discipline. Have you ever experienced that? I experienced that a lot. So you're basically the one who keep the team accountable. Again, missed deadlines. So team is not able to reach the deadlines. Again, it's very difficult to do that since everyone is focused on individual tasks. And how you will fix it? Of course, you need to foster team accountability and peer feedback. And first of all, I encourage everyone to try out pairing. It can be difficult to sell to developers who tend to kind of implement their stuff on their own, just to prove that they're the best developers in the world. But you can sell it like knowledge sharing activity. You can sell it like onboarding activity. And once they get used to that, once they figure out that there are benefits out of working together, you sell it like, now we will start reaching our goals, doing pairing on the tasks. For example, over the time, we agreed with my team that if we have user stories of 8 story points, we just tag it with pairing tag, which means that people like are not allowed to work individually on these tasks. They have to work together, and they do. Because over the time, they just realize that it's not possible to do these huge user stories solely. Team rewards. Again, my favorite one. Shifting rewards from individual performance to team achievement can be difficult to reach since quite often this is organizational culture that is based on individual performance. Right, where we evaluated by our individual achievements and not by team achievements. If it's difficult to change on your organizational level, try to change at least in the team. Try to celebrate not individual achievements, but team achievements. Try not to appreciate individual achievements in your team, but make it a team thing. And peer feedback, important thing, to foster peer feedback. Not like I'm your manager and I'm the one responsible for the feedback for the whole team. Not really. So what we also agreed with the team, when I observed that people come only to me with a feedback, like I don't want to be proxy. So what we did, we also, while doing these team agreements, by the way, the one that I showed before, we agreed that, first of all, if people observe some unproductive behavior, they first go to person and talk one-on-one in a correct way, in a healthy way. They deliver the feedback. If they see that there are no changes, only then they escalate to me as a Scrum Master. And this is the tool that I also recommend, again, from Management 3.0, to raise accountability in your team. This is delegation poker, where you can agree and delegate activities in your team. This is a very nice tool, kind of gamification thingy. You can do in retrospective, you can do as a separate workshop. It is fun, but also in the end, people have a list of activities they can do on their own, or the ones that you can do solely. And basically, accountability and responsibility is distributed in your team equally. And the last but not least, resultatus neglectus, or inattention to results. How you will discover it? Again, goal blindness. People just indifferent to the goals. Either they do not understand the goals, or, I mean, maybe nobody brought this goal to them, also can happen. But people do not have goal in front of them. They do not know where they're moving to. And this is why they are not really attentive to the results. Because, I mean, why should I care if I will deliver it today or in a week or in 2 months? What is the goal? No ownership. When team fails, people do not take responsibility for these failures. They either blaming someone in the team or just try to ignore it. And individual glory. So people kind of care about their personal ego, and they want to shine individually based on their personal achievements rather than on team success. And again, be careful here, because this again can be organizational culture that fostered this kind of behavior. What can you do? You can focus again on collective goals. So shift the focus, first of all, on having a goal and having collective goal. And first of all, which is also good thing, and I will show you team canvas from the treatment kit, where you can align individual goals of everyone in the team with the team objective. And this is a good thing to do, basically, to discover what people are aiming to, what are their goals, and to align them to the team objectives. Because sometimes you can face situations when individual goals just contradict the team goals. And then you need to do something about that. Otherwise, the results will be not satisfying. Public declaration of results. When people know that there will be someone, I don't know, maybe at the end of the sprint or whatever you decide, however you decide to do that, kind of taking a look at their achievements, at their results, they probably try to do their best to do the work, to reach the goals. And here I just made an example that the easiest way to do that, to invite external people to your sprint increment reviews and show what you reached. And again, rewards. Try to shift focus from like rewards for just because we were trying so hard, but to the rewards for the achievements of something, of some specific outcomes, of some specific goals. Okay, yeah, we were trying so hard, guys, but what's then? We didn't achieve the goal, or we didn't, I don't know, meet the deadline. It's good that we tried hard, but then it means that we need to try harder. And this is the tool from the treatment kit that I've been talking about. This is Team Canvas. I also love to use it in my teams. In the beginning, when we have team kickoff, just to align how we are going to work together, what our common goals, what is our purpose, what is our mission, how it aligns with our individual goals, what our strengths and weaknesses, and so far and so on. So there are 2 versions of the Team Canvas. You can Google it and find it in the internet. And we are almost close to the end. My main message today here is to inspire you to do regular checkups, both medical checkups and also checkups in your teams. Even if you think maybe that everything is fine in your team, like I didn't discover any of these symptoms, oh, maybe it makes sense to step aside, to observe, and maybe to make some team assessment and to see maybe there are some symptoms of unhealthy behavior. And the earlier you discover it, the better results you will reach, right? The same as with medical checkup. And here is the team assessment book. It's also Lencioni's book. And you can find the assessment online. I think it's not free, but maybe you can find a free version, I don't know, where you can make some assessment of your team, basically making them answer different questions and then having some results to understand if you are facing any dysfunctions or not. And this is it for today. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ala. Now we get to the Q&A session.
Mhm.
So the first question towards you, how do you break up silos if the team is not buying it?
Find what? Well, again, I forgot about my second disclaimer, is that everything I mentioned here is a really hard work that takes a lot of time, and you need a lot of patience. Breaking silos, making people pairing, I don't know, whatever else, it sounds good, but it takes really lots of effort to do. But it will work anyway. I tell you, I promise you, if you try, it will work. How you break the silos, if it's about the silos mentioning working on individual tasks, you can try Kanban, you can try work in progress limits. There will be maybe some resistance. Again, it's always a case how you explain. It's always a thing how you explain it to the team, what arguments you bring. Again, as humanist, I'm not into forcing people to do something, but more to explaining them what are the benefits they will receive afterwards. Or I let them fail. And then I show them, for example, some metrics. Okay, guys, there are 10 sprints we are not reaching sprint goals. Does it say something to you? It helps people to think it over. I had a big resistance in my team was pairing first, but then they just come to the point that they couldn't do anything else beside that.
Okay, thanks. The second question addresses similar topic, I would say. Now it's the first one. How is it possible to achieve deep concentration while doing paired work on tasks?
Well, pairing is not about deep concentration, right? It's another goal of pairing. And does it mean that you need to do a task from the beginning to the end in pairing session? You can start to pair, you can agree on some solution together, align on that, and then you just start, maybe you will split some work, and quite often this is how we do, we just split the work, we are creating different tasks, people working, but from time to time they're just aligning, and they have their time to concentrate, and they have their time to work together. Nothing impossible.
Thanks. Next question. So how would you award exceptional work of a single person while not leaving out the team?
What for? Why should you award exceptional work of a single person? Since you always have to aim, at least this is what I'm aiming to. I'm aiming to the team results. If there is a person who is doing exceptional work and others are not doing a great job, yes, it can be questionable, but again, it's for team to bring it up as a conflict and to discuss together. If other team members are doing great job, but the other one is doing exceptional work, well, okay, good. But anyway, we are here to work as a team, not as individuals. We have team goals. So again, I'm always asking question, why, what for should we award basically exceptional work of a single person? What it will bring to you? Maybe it will increase the ego of this person. Will it be healthy? Will it be helpful? Doubtful.
Thank you. Next question is, what would you define as a productive conflict?
If you search in the internet, there is a nice scale just explaining conflict, like a timeline from the moment, or there are also different models of conflict, from not existent, then to productive, and then to like world war. So productive conflict I define for myself when people are not, crossing the personal borders, when they know the borders of each other and they do not go into, I don't know, some sarcastic comments on some giggling when people are talking. They take it serious. Every opinion is taken seriously. There can be emotional debates just because they're in process of discussing something, but then it never goes personal. If it goes personal, it's already non-productive, and this is where you need to intervene as a Scrum Master or as just a leader.
Okay. You have talked about norms for conflict that you have defined. Do you have some examples for them?
Yeah. Well, basically, it's up to you and to your team to agree what is normal for us, how we can normalize conflict. Of course, explaining that what is productive conflict, why it's very helpful to the team, how it can help to the team, maybe bringing some researchers. And then you start creating these norms together. So it's, again, up to you. It's very personal thing. Like, I don't know, in every family, people decide how they are dealing in their relationship, right? Team also has to decide how they are doing their relationship in a good way for them and how they are normalizing conflict. So it can be, again, it can be definition. What is productive conflict for us? What is unproductive conflict for us? How we will understand that conflict is getting unproductive? What do we do when conflict is getting unproductive? What we do not do when conflict is still productive, or what our Scrum Master doesn't do if conflict is still productive. So you kind of, again, creating these boundaries to distinguish productive from unproductive, how it will be for your team, and then agree with confidence vote on the whole team level if everyone agree on these norms.
Thank you. What was your biggest learning throughout the different phases?
Phases. Not sure what is meant here.
The levels maybe of the pyramid?
Yeah. Thank you. What is my biggest learning is actually, I would say, it's not enough to cure some particular symptom that you observe. It's like if you have headache, once you take a pill, headache is gone. Then you have headache again the next day. You again take a pill, the headache is gone. If you continue with that, you will just kind of kill the symptom. At some point, pills will not working for you. Life is tough. But if you observe the repetitive symptom from time to time, over and over again, you have to do deeper investigation and kind of diagnostic. What stands behind that? Is that something going wrong in the team? Is that me as a leader doing something wrong? Is that organizational culture influencing people? Again, it's a huge system where not only your team involved and not only you involved, lots of other people around you, your clients, your organization, influencing this system, and you always need to consider it in curing the symptoms. That's probably the biggest learning.
Thank you. Why would you break up? No, it has been downvoted.
Okay.
If a team has lots of symptoms, how to make a first step? Maybe you have some example from real life.
Start with the one that is, which is the less effortless for you, that creates less effort, but bigger impact. So you can do that, I don't know. For me, since I'm a person of a structure, you structurize, you can just write down your symptoms and try to think about solutions. And then you can create a scale, for example, effort and impact, and distribute your improvements on this scale and see the ones that the less cost you less resources, money, time, whatever, and bring more impact. I would do this. Some kind of low-hanging fruits, how it's called.
Thank you. How can I start with these tools if the team has never been used to something like this before? Mm-hmm. How can you receive acceptance for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, start with small steps. It's always works for me. Never try to force some big change to the team because it will create huge resistance. Just very small steps. Try to, again, do not force people because, again, you will face resistance. Try to maybe phrase it as an experiment. Okay, guys, you don't want to have retrospectives. What if we will try it a month, for example, 2 iterations, and then we will see what happens next. Then we will debrief. It can be with any other tool. Okay, guys, you don't like these canvases. What if we try it once, keep it somewhere visible for us? And this is also an important thing when you try to involve people into these things like creating agreements, aligning on conflict norms. Make it visible for people. Otherwise, it will be buried somewhere in your repository, in your wiki, and people again will say, okay, this is what always happens. We spend time to something, we agree on something, and then we will never discuss that again. So try to make it visible. It can be more difficult to do that online. It's much easier to do when you're co-located somewhere in the office, just to put it on the wall. Just be creative.
You mentioned some nice tools. How long did it take you until applying them worked nicely?
I tried out and saw what will happen. I had a team where I brought the team canvas, and they were very skeptical in general around it, since they were skeptical about retrospective at all. But while we were filling it out, something happened. Some people, maybe for some people, again, it wasn't useful, but some people had some insights. At least they started to have, for example, some feeling of a purpose, some feeling of a mission, because it was a very boring project. And we kind of co-created something that will drive us forward. So, I mean, you will never know what will work. Just try it out, fail, or succeed. I mean, you can fail as well. Just accept it. Okay, we'll try something next. This is like Scrum works, right? Experiment. You need to experiment in order to understand if it works for you. Same with tools. Not every tool will work for your team. Even among the suggested ones, maybe it will not work for your team. Search for something else. But try it out.
Thank you.
Okay. This stupid question. Okay.
Yeah, going back to the topic of silos. I don't know if it's a stupid question. I'm sure it's not. So why would you break up silos? Doesn't it make everyone experts at nothing?
It's very rude to say that it brings everyone experts at nothing. Maybe it will not make people super experts in some area, but I had situations a lot in my teams when we kind of split people into areas of expertise. And then when people got sick or they quit, nobody can cover. So, I mean, and again, it's a question, if you really need people to become crazy experts at something and at one thing, what it will bring to you. It's, again, what we do in our team, it doesn't mean that we're trying to create people experts of everything. We have a skill matrix where we define all the skills we need in our project to build our product. And I just let people evaluate themselves without any judgment. And we just use it as a learning opportunity. Every month we have this kind of syncs on intentional learning, what people would like to learn next. And they tell what they want to learn. They tell on which user story they want to pair to learn more. But there were no, like, never a thing to make people experts, absolute experts in some particular area.
Okay, thank you. Next one, can we have a more detailed look at delegation poker? Is that easily possible, Jürgen?
Well, it takes some time. Well, you can actually go to management3.0.org or .com, don't remember, I think .com. They have all these tools described there also together with rules, and I think you even can download the deck, the online one. So you can either print out the cards or you can use even in Miro boards already. Some good people already created the templates. And all the rules are described in Management 3.0. So you just can learn how it works because it's quite straightforward, and just try it out.
So all the tools that you've shown today, they are available online?
Yes.
Good. Okay, next one. Can you describe more about sharing the result of teams? Because chance for success is not equal for separate teams. Comparing R&D?
Yeah. Research and development, yeah.
Research and development, thank you. And normal production line.
Yeah. Try to share at least something. I mean, if there is no opportunity to share a real piece of product or functionality, because, for example, you just fixing, I don't know, some security gaps in the code, just gather together and think what still can we show. Maybe you can share some best practices, something that you discovered recently and you want to share with other teams. It will be a great learning point for other teams also to know. Maybe there are some internal metrics you are gathering and you are so happy about that you want to share with other people. Maybe there is some feedback from a client which is very happy that there are no security gaps in the code and everything is working fine. Just share this. I mean, you always have something to share. Sometimes it's not straightforward, so you need to think about it, but there is always something to share.
Thank you. What if you have a single person rejecting everything of these things that you mentioned today? How do you deal with this person?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. And it goes to the also topic of unproductive behavior and how you're dealing with the conflict. I would say that still I would like to have team discussion on that. I don't know what to act again as a only source of discipline in this team and decide for the team. Maybe team is fine that he's rejecting. Maybe nobody cares and like he's always rejecting whatever. If person is rejecting and sabotaging, then it can be a point to step in for you as a leader, to talk individually with the person, to bring your observations and to bring basically the kind of the results that it brings. So like, okay, Bob, you are doing this and that. Again, you're referring to the facts. And these are results that it brings to the team. How do you feel about that? And quite often, if you do not try to blame person, there can be some things that person will reveal, because maybe we all have our background, right? Maybe the person was, I don't know, struggling a lot with wrong implementation of some Agile, Scrum, whatever. And now he has or she has a very bad impression and just try to be resistant and overprotecting, saying, okay, I tried it, never worked. It can be a case. If you openly talk with a person and trying to understand the motives behind this behavior, it will be very helpful. If it can also happen that person just doesn't match your culture, then you also need to decide what you do next.
Thank you. Does every person in the team does her own personal map? If yes, okay, now it is
here.
It's down, yeah. If yes, now it's up. How do you map the similarities between the people, like if there are many people?
Well, again, it's a question, how many people is there? So you know that it's not productive if you have more than 10, but basically for me, 8 is already enough in the team. So maybe it can be a sign if you have many people, more than 8, to think it over what you can do, how to split them. Because then it's not only personal map, it's also about communication, because it's getting crazy complicated. But of course, you need to dedicate more time if you have more people in the team. And it's up to you how you will facilitate it. As facilitator, you can do some gallery walk. So when people just walking from map to map, or if it's on mirror board, whatever, they walking through the mirror board, checking other person's map and try to find similarities, and then just bind with some lines or arrows together. You can do that in groups. You can ask people to present maybe the main points of their personal map. Personal map is just an example how you can create connections. What, for example, you can do in physical environment, and what I practice also in my team, you can do this exercise called string theory. You just need threads, and you're doing basically personal map, but just doing this physically when everyone is saying, for example, I'm a dog lover, and searching if there is someone else in your group, in your team, who is also dog lover. They raises the hand, and you just throw these threads to this person, and then you create a very nice net of these connections, and people can physically feel how they connected. Personal map, it's just instrument how you can do that.
Thank you. Is there any online resource in your organization where similar topics and situations are constantly discussed?
Well, I wouldn't say, I mean, yeah, we have community of delivery leads and project managers where we're discussing something that people bring, their problems, and it's kind of intervision or supervision when just people bring in their problems, and we together with our collective brain trying to solve them. What I also do, besides that I'm Scrum Master, I'm also a member of Ombuds team. It means that I have access to the CEO body. And when I observe some organizational failures, let's phrase it like that, then I just can go to our CEO, to our people and culture, to our practice leads, and just openly talk to them, because I mean, I have this power to talk. But it doesn't mean that all the time they change something, but at least I'm being heard. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you recommend a couple of more games, approaches to ask about feelings during retro in game-like way?
Yeah, actually games, gamification is my favorite topic. So you just opened Pandora's box. Well, what I can, of course, it depends if it's online or offline. You can find lots of games in different resources, like, for example, if it's regarding retro, you can try out this retromat.org. There are lots of different things, like kind of game-like, but they are also applicable for just developers who don't like gamification, which is good. There are also Tasty Cupcakes website where you also can find different funny games. There is a book game, something, don't remember. But if you contact me in LinkedIn, I can send you and share maybe some links. About feelings, for example, what I recently did in one of the retros, there was an idea that just popped up in my head while I was in the train. You know, this emotion or feelings wheels. So you can use this, for example, as a helpful tool for the team, because quite often it's difficult to name the feelings. Like, I feel something, but I don't know how to name it. And what I did, I brought this wheel. You can openly find it in the internet, just type feelings wheel or emotional wheel. And what we did, I asked everyone in the team to think about 3 feelings that they experienced in the last sprint. And these feelings should be with opposite sign. Like, there should be positive feelings and kind of negative feelings. There are no negative feelings, but let's say there are negative feelings. When they come up with these feelings, I ask them to bind these feelings to the behaviors or situations that brought these feelings, that caused these feelings. For example, I don't know, I felt frustrated in the last sprint. I felt frustrated because nobody wanted to hear me, I don't know, or whatever, something like that. And based on that, people had a good point to self-reflect. They all shared that it was, I think, the most difficult exercise we ever did in our retros. But they also were quite happy about that, because it was a very deep moment when they finally thought about their feelings, when they bound it to some situations. And based on that, we were searching for improvements.
Thank you. And last question, Ala, are you planning to organize similar useful event in Vienna?
No, I'm not really good in organizing. So, like, if it goes to organizing, for example, team events, I have a person in the team who likes doing that, and I delegate. I hate it.
So
if you will find someone whom I can delegate it.
Okay, so yeah, maybe from our perspective, we had it once this year that we were hosting in 3 different locations our event. So Graz, Vienna, and Belgrade. So this might happen again in the future.
Okay.
But we are based in Graz, but we are always open to connect with other communities. But yeah, as we are doing it remote, you can always reach us or reach our events whenever we have one. Now I'm giving it back to you again.
Perfect. So just to wrap everything up and close a little bit, of course I will go there, just to also be visible for people. So first of all, thank you, Ala, for this nice presentation and also the insights afterwards in the Q&A. And not to forget about thanks everyone for actually asking questions, because we can only tell you something and you can learn something if you also are willing to ask the questions. For the participants on site, there will be food and drinks available afterwards, hosted by lovely DCCS. So looking forward for a fruitful night as well. And for the remote participants, don't drop out. Ala will also join a little bit, that you can also ask some personal questions and get the train going and still communicate a little bit. So thank you, everyone, and see you